What is going on, guys? Dirtsheet clocking in from the Spoiler Alert Network. I am here with my third episode of the Watchlist, and the show that I'm going to be throwing on my watchlist today is actually kind of a shift in gears, if you will, from the previous picks on my watchlist. Now, if you watched the first couple episodes of my watchlist, the first one was Haunting at Hill House, which is a horror series, and then Attack on Titan, which is an action anime. So the third pick on Dirtsheet's watch list. That's me. I'm Dirtsheet. That's Dirtsheet. This is Dirtsheet. It's also Dirtsheet. Dirtsheet's down there. There's just a whole collective of Dirtsheet. We are Dirt Book. Anyways, I'm straying. So, the third pick on my watch list is going to be Archer, which is an action comedy animated series on FX. You can also find it on Hulu if you want to binge it, because who has cable? It's 2020. We have no use of that with streaming services. So, now what Archer is about is it is about a group of workers who work for a company called ISIS, and ISIS is a spy agency. It's just the worst spy agency. They are so bad. They botch every single mission they do. I don't think they have ever successfully succeeded in successfully succeeding a mission. Repeat that a couple times over again. Bet you can't. I can't. I'm not going to do it. But, so reasons why they're so bad is because they're really just a bunch of childs. They're a bunch of childs running around with weapons and lots of money and tools and spy stuff. None of them get along. They constantly fight and bicker and spread rumors and it's like a high school, really, essentially. It's a high school of spy agents. So, things I love about this show are definitely the humor. The humor is super simple, super raunchy, super offensive. If you get easily offended, do not watch this show, because you will probably, I don't know, turn into a Karen on Facebook or something and veto the show. I don't know. It is, I'm not lying when I say it's very offensive. There's nothing they don't joke about. And I can relate to that because I laugh so I don't cry. So if humor's your coping mechanism, go watch this show. It's going to be great for you. And the second thing I really love about this show is definitely how quotable it is. It is so very quotable. 90% of my vocabulary, I would say, is probably just Archer quotes. And that's not even an exaggeration. I just literally speak Archer all the time. The number one quote from the show is definitely phrasing. Phrasing is a quote that has evolved and adapted with the show itself, which is just incredible. Starts out in season 1, Archer just says it all the time. Phrasing boom. Anytime somebody says something that sounds even mildly dirty, he'll say it. And then as it goes, the characters kind of get sick of it. Archer keeps trying to use it, and then it fades out. And then he starts asking at one point, he says, guys, can we bring back phrasing? And nobody lets him, so eventually it just dies, and then he tells them they take it off for granted when they try to bring it back. There's a bunch of other quotes from the show, literally scores, whatever a score is. I'm going to assume at least 2. But literally tons and tons of quotes from this show that you can use in everyday life just to annoy people. I'm not going to tell you, though. If you want to know what they are, go watch the show. F*** you. And then the best part about this show, for me personally, is definitely the characters. They did a tremendous job about making characters that you can just thoroughly enjoy and or hate at the same time. Some of the notable characters from the show are Dr. Krieger, who is a Nazi scientist who is also joked to be a clone of Adolf Hitler. That's terrible. There is Barry, who is Archer's nemesis. Eventually gets turned into a cyborg. That's fun. So Barry definitely struggles with some sort of mental illnesses because he's not all there. Then there is Cyril Figgis, who is kind of the dorky accountant of ISIS. And one of the longest running jokes in the series is that he has just a magnum dong, just like enormous, like Ron Jeremy sized. And then there's Lana, who is the on-again, off-again love interest for Sterling Archer. She is just the sassy super queen of ISIS. Like, she's the queen bee of ISIS, and she has the attitude to go with it. Good God. Oh my God, I would not get in her way. Plus, she has hands that are like the size of cricket bats. And the characters don't let you forget that. Then there is Ray Gillette, who is another agent at ISIS, and he is always crippled or paralyzed, and it's like every season something happens and he gets crippled and or paralyzed or maimed, and it's always Archer's fault every single time. So they don't have a great relationship. Then there's Carol or Cheryl or Charlene or Crystal. She went through like 3 names in the first season alone. She is definitely the most out there character of the Archer series. Like, I want you to take a book with all known mental illnesses, and then I just want you to circle the book, and that's what Carol struggles with, because she is just absolutely insane. Like, she eats cement glue for fun, calls it gluing up. Then there's Mallory Archer, who is in charge of ISIS. It is her company. She is the one who runs it, and she is just the most disrespectful, rude, hateful person I've ever seen in my life, animated or otherwise. The way she talks to people just makes you want to cry with the person she's talking to, because it hurts both of you just to hear it. Her and Archer have a very strange relationship. Lana jokes about it being a Norman Bates relationship. Like, they hate each other, but they love each other, but oh my god, they detest each other. Then there's Sterling Archer, the main character of the show. And Archer is just a chauvinistic, womanizing, sarcastic douche. Like, there's episodes where you see that he can be a great guy. He can. He just chooses not to be because he's a dick. He never takes anything seriously, always sarcastic, always has to have the last word, constantly coming up with something witty to say. And I idolize this man for 90% of his traits. Not the chauvinistic womanizing stuff, like the sleeping with every woman that, walks down the street. But just the intelligent, witty, sarcastic personality. Like, he always has something to say, constantly. And if it doesn't make sense, he'll just say something stupid just to shut you up. Like, it literally causes a mental buffer. He does it all the time to Lana in this series. Lana will be winning an argument and he'll just say something completely absurd and stupid. Like, literally a no-you situation. And he wins the argument just because his logic makes no sense. Like, one of the most notable arguments him and Lana have is in season 7 or 8, and Lana is trying to get him to conceive his own mortality, and Archer just says, I literally can't. And Lana's like, why can't you? He says, well, can anybody? And that's it. Argument stops. Just like that. Archer wins. So, anyways, guys, that is enough rambling about the show from me. You guys need to go check this show out. It is a great time killer. Absolutely tremendous. I binge the entire series probably at least twice a year. It is my go-to show to fall asleep to. Even though I don't fall asleep to it, I just end up watching an entire season, and then I'm sleep deprived all night at work. So that is it. That is my 3rd show on Dirtsheet's watch list. Make sure you guys come back Tuesday for an episode of After Dark with one of the faces here at T-Stand. Come back Thursday for an episode of the Retro Vault with my face, even though my face won't be on the screen because I'll be playing an old game for you guys to watch. And then be sure to come back next Saturday for another episode of the watch list with somebody. I don't know. It'll be the short one or the bearded one, because it's not going to be me, because this is my episode of the watch list. So, Archer, go watch it right now. Literally right now. And while you're watching it, remember to stay dedicated.